Well, hello everybody. I'm gonna test your sight and your vision today. Do you see anything to my right? Of course you don't. And that's because Mr. Chestnut is not here. I know that we've been doing these videos for about 52 weeks, a little over a year. And I know that he's been with me on every single one of them. But today he's not. Actually, he's in Chicago. Actually, he's there as a purpose because he's been invited there. And we're going to get into that as today is our topic. And I miss him not being here because he's the same part of our duo. I do the humor and I do the historical stuff, and he does the real nuts and bolts stuff. But he's not here today, so I'm going to have to do it all. So I brought along my wrench so I can do the nuts and bolts, and I don't have to worry about anything else about the humor because I already got that. So I'm glad you're watching, and let's get right into this. Let's start with a quiz. Raise your hand if you know what the Brownsfield projects are. Well, I didn't see any hands go up, so obviously none of you know what I'm talking about. We are very fortunate not only to have Mr. Chestnut here as our town manager for the last 3 years, but also because he is diligent in getting grants. And he was able to get us a major grant in this topic, Brownsfield project, which we're going to talk about just very, very shortly. $500,000, $500,000 grant. Listen to me carefully now. Put your coffee cup down. Pull off on the side of the road. Focus. Listen to me. Only 4 towns in the state of North Carolina got this grant. We are one of them. Only 22 towns or cities in the United States, the whole United States, got this grant, and we were one of them. Now, I know what you're asking. Okay, you told us we were all that, Fairmont's all that, we got all this grant money. What do you do with it? Okay, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, started this project years ago when buildings that possibly contained contaminants and may have leached into the ground below them when the building fell down or the building was abandoned and left there. Prime examples, dry cleaners. You know, there's a lot of chemicals in dry cleaners. Textile plants, gas stations, places like that. When people walk away from those and the natural process of aging makes them fall down, you don't have a clue what's in the ground. Oil cans are buried, gasoline cans are buried underground. Huge tanks are buried underground in gas stations. Chemicals leach into the ground, maybe fall and leach into the ground in cleaners, that kind of thing. So what the EPA does is, with a grant, you can authorize spending on experts that come into your town, and they go into these areas and they study what's in the ground underneath them. Now, perfect example, Center Street. What's called Bulldog Avenue. Little history involved. Bulldog fights or dog fights in some of the buildings on that street way, way, way back in the day. Not lately. I got nothing to do with dog fighting. Please don't call up the police and send them up here in my office to arrest me for dog fighting. I got nothing to do with dog fighting. But back in the day, I was told by people who apparently know that there were dog fights down there. So they called it Bulldog Avenue. Now it's called Center Street. Very important street. If you go down that street today, you're going to see some abandoned buildings. Some buildings that have collapsed and fallen down. And on one side, a beautiful new, brand new, multi-million-dollar medical center. Before it was there were cleaners there. There was a restaurant there, Ross Ashley's restaurant. I know for a fact it was there because when I was 10 and 11 years old, I used to sit on the stools there at the bar where they served the counter and turned around and around and around on aluminum with a vinyl coated seated stool while my Uncle Albert, Dr. A.H. Hayes, sat over in the corner and talked with his friends, drink coffee and stuff like that before we went out to where the golf course is now to the tobacco barns for Uncle Albert to check on his crew out there putting in tobacco. I know that there was a restaurant there. I know that Tom Jones had a cleaners on Center Street on the right-hand side going toward the stoplight. I know that the Stevens family had cleaners on the left-hand side. I know that there are other buildings there. So what happens is the EPA sends, due to the grant, they send experts in, and the experts look at the ground and they say, you're good. There's nothing underneath there, you're fine. Then you can do something with the building. Tear it up, move it away, sell it, give it away. In case you have not noticed, there is a large former industrial textile plant carcass across the street from Big Brick Warehouse. Used to be Swiss Piedmont. Guy got up one day, decided he didn't want to be involved anymore, left, and went overseas. That building's been sitting here ever since. Now, that was a cut and sew plant, just like many of the others, Fairmont knitting mills and other places. We don't know what's under the ground there. They could have dumped stuff down the toilet for all we know. Billy Smith had a gas station there in the triangular intersection across from Hodges at one time. We don't know what's leached into the ground. Perfect example. The Collins folks had a facility up on Bird Street. Last year when we had all that huge rain, a huge diesel fuel tank floated up out of the ground. We had to call the EPA. They had to come in and tell us how to do what we needed to do with it. You never know what's under the ground. All we see is what's on the ground. The Brownsfield grant projects are wonderful. Now, we just had a lady here for a year from Duke University, graduate of Duke University. She's now in the Northeast in law school. She left here. She's going to be the next Erin Brockovich, the lady who did so much environmental damage out in California to people. She helped us with this grant. She was available for us for a year with her knowledge with this grant. So basically what today is about is for me to honor Mr. Chestnut's diligence in getting us a $500,000 grant that led to a team of EPA people coming in here to our town and saying yes or no, you're okay on this building, this building, this building, that building, this facility, whatever. So that we could either sell them, rent them, give them away, whatever we need to do, and fix up our town, which we could not do before we found out there was nothing dangerous below the ground. I hope this is helpful to you, but I want to repeat what I said. 4 towns in North Carolina, 22 in the whole United States got these grants. Why is Mr. Chestnut in Chicago? He was invited to go by the people that are putting on this Brownsfield project conference to use Fairmont as the example of how the Brownsfield projects work. Of all the 22 towns that got the Brownsfield project grant in the United States, Fairmont, and the person who wrote the grant, Mr. Jerome Chestnut, was invited to Chicago to show off. That's the simplest way I can say it. We're going to show off and show out. Fairmont got the grant. This is what we've done with the money. This is what we've done with the grant. We're going to end up having 5 or 6 facilities come out in the long run in a better way. These are the kinds of things that you need to know as a citizen out there watching these shows. Fairmont is a much better place because of this grant and because of the work Mr. Chestnut did. We'll be back next week with another interesting topic, and I hope you enjoyed this one.